2020 is called to order. And we'll have Kathy McDowell lead us in the pledge this time.
All right, well, let's all stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to
and
the
to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Would you please do the roll call? Or should we wait?
I'm ready if you're ready.
I think
Okay.
we can do the roll call, Mr. Mayor, and then recognize Councilmember Feast when she
Okay.
joins us.
Okay, are we ready?
Go.
Councilmember Bode,
Here.
Councilmember Inesco,
Here.
Deputy Mayor Peterson,
Here.
Councilmember McDowell,
Present.
Mayor Dorsey,
Here.
Councilmember Schmidt.
Here.
Is that everybody except for Megan?
Yep.
Okay.
All right. Does council have any late changes to the agenda? Okay, hearing none, I'm going to turn this meeting over to Mr. Knighton. Address our decision on the parks equipment.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, members of council, Deputy Mayor as well, excuse me. Couple things I wanted to mention. First, there was a news report yesterday that we had gone beyond the governor's orders. At least that's the way it was characterized. From my perspective, I don't think we went beyond the governor's orders at all. The governor issued a statement, I believe last Thursday afternoon, that reduced phase 3 counties from gatherings of 50 people down to a total of 10 people outside an individual's household per week. In response to that, we've done a couple of things. The thing that's gathered the most attention, so that's the thing I'm going to address tonight, is the closure of the playgrounds. Now, the first point I want to make is that the parks remain open because we do recognize that people need to have the opportunity to recreate in our city parks, and there is an adequate opportunity for social distancing in our city parks. So that should be in compliance with the 10-person decision that the governor and the Secretary of Health made. The reason we addressed the playground specifically is because there's no way to socially distance or maintain a total limit of 10 people per household, 10 people outside of your household while you're on the playground, while you're on a playground structure. And the last thing I want is for one of our police officers or one of our parks folks to have to talk to a child and tell them that they can't be on that play structure when 10 other kids are already up there. I don't think that's fair to the kids that are out there playing, and I don't think it's fair to ask our police officers or our parks people to have to do that. The other reason that we address the playgrounds is because this is one of the ways that we can keep our economy open and keep the option for kids to go back to school open in the fall. We've had, I believe, an increase of 32 cases in Mason County, maybe a little bit more, but right near that number since July 2nd. And as we've all seen and heard from the governor, cases are going up at a rapid rate. And the governor also mentioned that there is a possibility for an additional stay-at-home order if we can't get this under control. And the last thing that our local small businesses need is another stay-at-home order. That's the last thing anybody needs. And I speak for myself, and I think that I speak for the council when I say that nobody wants to close playgrounds. This is the last thing that we want to do. But we also recognize the need to keep this under control so that we don't go back into a phase 1 situation where everybody's staying at home. And if these are the steps that we need in order to do that, need to take in order to do that, then I think that's appropriate for our community. because we're trying to avoid the harsher consequences. And that's why the decision was made to close those playgrounds, limit access to our civic center with our meeting rooms that are available for rental to 10 people or less. We have an event in the park, in Nealon Park, that's supposed to take place on Friday. And I worked with the organizers of that event to make sure that that event could still take place while maintaining the social distancing and the requirements that the governor has laid out. We're trying to make every accommodation possible to help the community and the city itself and all the people that live within our city and then in the wider Mason County community get through this situation with as little disruption as possible. And that's why we made the decision to close the playgrounds. The other part of this is I've seen quite a few comments, and it's never a good idea to read the comments. I'm sure everybody's heard that. I think all of us can agree or disagree with each other and do it in a respectful manner. But I have seen some comments as well that could be perceived as threatening to members of this council, and that's not appropriate. There's no other way to put it. That's simply not the way that we do business here. If you have something to say, if you disagree with us, you're more than welcome to come talk to us, call me, email me, come see me. All the council members, I'm sure, feel the exact same way. But posting threats that could be perceived, or posting comments rather, that could be perceived as threats to individuals or families of people that have stepped up to help their community, like the folks that are serving on this council, is absolutely the wrong way to go about it. And I don't think members of the council or anybody else should tolerate that. That's my comments. I'd be happy to answer any questions if you would like. Sure.
Eric?
I've had a lot of people call me about the recreation. Department of Commerce sent out said outdoor group recreational sports activities, 50 or fewer people and we closed down the co-ed baseball. I was just curious about that, and so are a lot of people in Shelton.
So the 50 or fewer people was in the initial Safe Start program for phase 3, which we are in. The governor's statement last week reduced that number from 50 people to 10 people per week outside your household.
This is still on their site.
I have seen the updated graphic. I don't know why the governor's office hasn't published that yet, but there may be a lag in the governor's office. But what the governor's statement, as reported widely throughout the state, was that phase 3 counties are limited in social gatherings to 10 people or fewer per week. That's not per day like the 50-person limit was. I can reach out to the governor's office tomorrow and find out if and when they're going to update that graphic, because I do agree it's causing a lot of confusion. But the governor's statement was very clear that it's 10 people per week.
Yeah, it does have gatherings on here for 10 people. They did update that. They did not update oh, sorry, you can't read that. They didn't update the recreations. So this is a phase 3, and it's still on their site today.
Okay, like I said, I'll reach out to the governor's office tomorrow and find out what's happening there. But again, it's not anything that the city wants to do to close down playgrounds. I'm a parent. I would love to have my kids go run around on those jungle gyms and tire themselves out so I can have a break. I'm sure most of us feel the same way. But I also need to keep the bigger picture in mind and do everything we can to avoid going back into a stay-at-home situation. And that's what this is all about. We need to keep our small businesses open, and that's what we're trying to do.
All right.
Just a comment, and I'm going to share my screen really quickly. I'm going to try to, at least. Let's see if this works. But yesterday we attended a webinar with the governor's office, and we also received some, it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to do the screen share, but regardless, what we're seeing with COVID and the epidemic as it's growing throughout the state is growth amongst children. I fully support the decision to close down the parks, fully support the decision to close down the playgrounds, excuse me. because what we're starting to see is growth in children, and it's not just the 65 and over demographic anymore. And when things start to align with the state of Florida, when you're looking at these models that are being produced by people much smarter than myself, we need to rely on this information to make smart decisions. So I fully support these decisions. Not all the time is the public going to have all of the information in front of them. That's kind of our job, is to balance our decision making based on the demographics in our community, our business community, our citizens, our people, etc. But at the end of the day, look, we've got very limited tools in our tool belt, and the easiest things that we can do is wear a mask and limit our interactions socially to stop this in its tracks. And unfortunately, we're seeing a resurgence. Mason County has not seen its worst yet, and unfortunately, we're going to get there at some point. And to do whatever we can do to do this, I appreciate the mayor's comments, and I appreciate, Jeff, you taking the time to talk about it, but this is what we have to do, and we just need to roll with it and continue to communicate and work through the best way we can. And if we have to take steps back, we have to take steps back. We have to make changes. We have to make changes, and people just need to understand it's not perfect right now, and it's not going to be anytime soon. So thank you.
Okay, before we go any farther, I want to recognize Councilmember Megan Feast. Hi, Megan. All right. Okay, are we through with that subject for a little while?
I hope so.
So we have an envelope here to open up. Inside here is a certificate from the Guinness Book of World Records. All right. It says the largest display of illuminated Christmas trees consists of 797 trees and was achieved by Mason County, USA in Shelton, Washington, December 11, 2019. It's very official.
Hey, it's official.
Yep.
Yeah, I guess we'll put this downtown somewhere.
We will we'll put it out, and I think I know we have in other places, but I think specifically need to thank Rachel Hansen and her family and the Chamber for all their efforts. That was amazing. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think Rachel did a wonderful job, and above and beyond, and all her volunteers. I want to thank them all. So
I was only able to go through once. Every other time I tried to get through, there was a line of people, which is great.
yeah. All right, let's move on to the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as published?
I move to approve the consent agenda as published.
Do we have a second? Second, okay. We have a motion to approve and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. All opposed? All right, hearing none, motion carries. We'll move on to business agenda. The only item that we have tonight on the business agenda is an Olympic Region Local Programs Project Administration Agreement. There's a mouthful. City Engineer Ken Gill has the details for us.
Good evening, Council. It's good to see all your smiling faces. I'm going to share my screen with you real quick.
The wrong one.
Oop.
There we go.
Here you go. So this is in your packet tonight, and this is what we ultimately would be asking Jeff to sign. One of the reasons why we're doing this is another piece of paper that's in your packet, but it's a preliminary plan for a roundabout at Wallace and Eland. Backing up even further, Brooke Kiltz gets all the credit for doing a really nice job in your council briefing. In 2018, we got basically selected a consultant to do a preliminary design. They used that preliminary design to get a state appropriation of around $650,000. We went through the process, and the state basically told us to stop for budget concerns. So we've since moved that design to 30%. That's what's in front of you on the screen right now. But to keep on to spend any of this money, or to keep this process moving, to obligate this money, we did sign this agreement. And Kevin said it's a mouthful, but basically what there's 14 items in it that the city has to do to use WashDOT's money. I think if you boil it down even further, it's basically WashDOT making sure that we're dotting all the I's and crossing all the T's. So that's all I've prepared tonight. Do you guys have any other questions?
Is there
Ken?
any,
Yes.
Ken? Is the middle part of the roundabout, is that going to be fairly flat like the one downtown is?
You know, we haven't gotten that far along in the design yet, Kathy, but
Okay.
if we get further along, I'll certainly be happy to reach out to you and share what we came up with.
Okay.
Yet. We're only at 30%. So
Okay.
my only question is since this isn't just simply an administrative step, and with the starts and stops and construction and other delays that have gone on, is there really any issue with moving this to action and just getting this out of the way tonight?
You know, I don't have, that's your decision. I'm trying to honor your 3 touches. So with this, so that's kind of why we're doing it this method. But if you want to move it ahead to that, you certainly can. It's purely administrative, and it'll be back to you on the 4th if not.
So, Councilmember Schmidt, I think the best way to do that, if a majority of the council desires, is just to request that the motion would be request that council waive second reading and approve this evening, along with the motion that's in your briefing.
We need to waive a second. So I guess I'll ask the rest of the council, is everybody, I mean, it's not a huge deal to me. I'm just wondering from an administrative step purpose, if it's just move things along, because with the COVID and everything else going on, some of these administrative things just may give staff more time to get things accomplished, so we're not chasing our tails potentially down the road.
I'm fine moving it.
Joe, let's wait just a second, okay? And let's pause for some public comment, and then we'll continue. So Donna, you want to keep track?
Yep, I'm starting it right now, Mr. Mayor. Okay, Mr. Mayor, that's 30 seconds.
All right. Councilmember Schmidt, would you like to make a motion on that?
I move that the council waive the 3-touch rule at this point and waive a second reading on the Olympic Region Local Programs Project Administration Agreement with the Washington State Department of Transportation, and authorize, is there a signature, Jeff? Do I authorize the mayor for this, or you?
Authorize me.
And I authorize the city manager to sign.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed?
Me?
Motion passes.
No, I oppose.
But it still passes.
Yeah, I know. Do you want to hear why I oppose? I didn't get a chance to give my opinion.
Oh, I didn't ask for comment. Sorry, Kathy.
No, that's okay. I think we're setting a precedence rushing things through. And we have decided 3-touch rule on projects. And I think we need to stay as close to that as possible.
Okay. So now we still need to go to a vote. So all in favor, say aye.
Can we, to make sure that we balance the conversation here, I think it's really important to address the concern that this has come before council many times, you know, and it's important that this is an administrative function. It's part of, again, to Joe's point, we have a lot of things that are going to be ramping up really quickly. You know, we have a federal act that's going to come through here again with another stimulus package, and our staff are going to need as much time as they can get, especially because most likely we're going to see those top 3 projects on our plan start to get some traction there. So, and I apologize for the noises in my computer. that's part of some of the issues I think that we were having earlier. But I think the more time that we can get staff and so that we can get these projects started and to get jobs also created in our community is super, super important. And again, I'm with you, Kathy, if this was a brand new project, but this is not a brand new project. This has been on the docket for a long time. So.
Anyone else have a comment?
I would just echo that the reason I'm comfortable moving forward is, while it's not quite as simple as perhaps the art selections from the commission for display, this does not represent any change in policy nor obligation of city funds. And those are the issues that I feel it's really important that we're lockstep to make sure that we're allowing those 3 touches, staff time, additional public input, and knowing that we're only at a 30% design phase right now, there will be additional opportunities. I feel comfortable moving forward at this point.
Okay, thank you, Deidre. Anyone else? Okay, shall we put it to a vote? All in favor of moving this forward, say aye.
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 All opposed?
Me.
Okay. The motion carries.
Thank you.
Just a second. All right. All right, we're going to move on to the action agenda. First item on the action agenda this evening is Civic Center Rotating Art Gallery. Community Development Director Mark Ziegler has information to share with us.
Thank you, Mayor, Deputy Mayor, Council members. I'm pleased to bring to you tonight new recommendations from the Shelton Arts Commission for pieces of art to be placed in the Civic Center Rotating Art Gallery. The Arts Commission advertised for submittals with a deadline of July 3rd. Arts Commission met on July 7th to jury the work. We received a submittal from only one artist, which is probably not surprising in these days, but we do have one submittal, 5 pieces of art that the Arts Commission is recommending for placement starting on August 4th and would be in place for 3 months with the council's approval.
Okay.
I got a question, Mr. Mayor.
Sorry, guys, I gotta get that rid of. Okay, go ahead.
Is it possible, do we have the capacity to support this artist in some of the communications that we're doing in our community, you know, just like on our social media posts, and maybe able to spread it out over the next several weeks as part of pride of our community, and, you know, again, feature that artist and what each piece of art represents?
So I believe that we can. I think we can take one piece of the art that was produced for the Civic Center each week and highlight that on our social media pages. I think that would be a good way to do it.
I like that.
All right. Before we do a motion, let's pause for public comment.
You're muted, Donna.
Are we good?
We're good if I would unmute myself. I know Jeff
Okay.
would like me to stay muted, but when I'm in the meeting, I guess I have to talk. We're
Okay, do we have a motion?
I move to approve the Shelton Art Commission's recommendations for placement in the Civic Center rotating art gallery.
All right. We have a second? A second, all right. Any more discussion?
Excuse me, who seconded that motion, Mr. Mayor? Deidre, thank you.
Deidre, thank you. All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the Shelton Arts Commission's recommendations for placement in the Civic Center Rotating Art Gallery. All say aye.
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 All opposed? Motion carries. Community Development Director Mark Ziegler again has details for us about an ordinance for single room occupancy.
Thank you again, Mayor. This is just a follow-up from the brief from the last meeting on July 7th. No changes have been made to the ordinance to add a new section to the Shelton Municipal Code, amending Chapter 20.32.110 and concerning single room occupancy developments. So if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer those right now.
Anyone? Okay, let's pause for 30 seconds again for a public comment.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Mayor, that's 30 seconds.
All right, thank you. Donna, can you give us a second reading of ordinance number 1949-0220?
Yes, I can. Ordinance number 1949-0220, an ordinance of the City of Shelton, Washington, relating to land use and zoning, adding a new section 18.02.110 to the Shelton Municipal Code and amending Chapter 20.32.110 concerning single-room occupancy developments.
Okay, do we have a motion?
I move to adopt ordinance number 1949-0220, an ordinance relating to land use zoning, adding a new section to the Shelton Municipal Code and amending Chapter 20.32.110 concerning single room occupancy development.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All right. We have a motion and a second to adopt ordinance number 1949-0220, an ordinance relating to land use zoning, adding a new section to the Shelton Municipal and amending Chapter 20.32.110 concerning single room occupancy developments. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? Motion carries. Okay, the next item tonight is a resolution to update the master fee schedule. City Manager Jeff Knighton will explain.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, deputy mayors, and members of council. The update to the master fee schedule this evening is a companion piece to the single room occupancy ordinance that council just adopted. It reduces connection fees for those single room occupancy properties only. Nothing has changed in the master fee schedule since council first reviewed it on July 7th, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you have.
If there's no questions, we can pause for 30 seconds for public comment.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, that's 30 seconds.
All right, thank you, Donna. Will you give us a reading of resolution number 1160-0620?
Yes. Resolution number 1160-0620. A resolution of the City of Shelton, Washington, superseding resolution number 1155-0120, master fee schedule.
Okay, thank you. Do we have a motion?
I move to approve resolution 1160-0620 as presented.
Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Was that Kathy?
Yep.
Thank
was
you.
me.
All right, any discussion? We have a motion and a second to approve resolution 1160-0620 as presented. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? Motion carries. Now we're going to hear from Police Chief Darren Moody. He's going to speak to us about some surplus vehicles.
Well, thank you, Mayor and Council. There's not much to speak on. It was briefed on the 7th, and there's been no changes since then. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions, guys, on the surplus?
No.
Shall we pause 30 seconds for this? All right.
Okay.
Go, Donna.
I'm going. There's a lot of 30 seconds pauses on this one. Someday we'll all be together in a room and we can do this normally.
Yeah. It might take more than 30 seconds, too.
Yes, it might.
I thought this was normal now.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, 30 seconds.
Okay, it's back to you, Donna, for a reading of resolution number 1161-0620.
Resolution number 1161-0620, a resolution of the City of Shelton, Washington, declaring city vehicles surplus to the needs of the city and disposing of such vehicles for the common benefit.
All right, do we have a motion?
I move to approve resolution number 1161-0620 to surplus used police patrol vehicles as well as surplus fire vehicles.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, we got a second from Mr. James Bode. Thank you.
Thank you.
We have a motion and a second to approve resolution number 1161-0620 to surplus used police patrol vehicles as well as surplus fire vehicles. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? All right, motion carries. All right, next on the agenda is a resolution to approve final acceptance for Basin 3. City Engineer, Mr. Ken Gill, has the details. You need to unmute, Ken.
Mood.
There we go.
So again, Council, I'm going to share my screen with you. There's been no changes from when it was presented on the 7th, just like a Chief Moody's presentation. This is my favorite slide from the PowerPoint presented to you on the 7th because it shows what it looked like before, during, and after. So this project should be a kind of a celebration. At least it's a celebration for your sanitary sewer engineer to reduce the infiltration leaks into your system. So this allows us to send in the notice of completion to the 3 agencies so the contractor can get his retainage. So again, there's no change from last time, and that's what I've presented. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
All right, let's pause for 30 seconds for public comment.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, that's 30 seconds.
Okay, thank you. Now we'll ask our city clerk to give us a reading on resolution number 1162-0620.
Resolution number 1162-0620. A resolution of the Council of the City of Shelton, Washington, accepting the Basin 3 Sewer Rehabilitation Project as final and complete.
All right, thank you, Donna. Do we have a motion?
I move to authorize the mayor to sign resolution number 1162-0620, accepting the Basin 3 Sewer Rehabilitation Project as final and complete.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Donna, did you get the second?
I did.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any questions or comments? If not, we have a motion and a second to authorize me to sign resolution number 1162-0620, accepting the Basin 3 Sewer Rehabilitation Project as final and complete. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? Motion carries. Another resolution from Ken. This one is for contract amendment for the satellite wastewater treatment plant reclaim tank design.
Again, good evening, council. This is another carryover from your previous meeting. This is one slide that I shared with you last time. It's kind of just a quick refresher. The bird green dot is a future reclaim tank for additional capacity for our reclaim water that we're producing. The purpose of this is an additional just shy of $40,000 that the Squaxin tribe is providing to us to size that tank. So that's what I've prepared. If you have any questions, I'm here to answer them.
All right, let's move on to public comment. Pause for 30 seconds.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, that's 30 seconds.
All right, thank you, Donna. Back to you for a reading of resolution number 1163-0620.
Resolution number 1163-0620. A resolution of the Council of the City of Shelton, Washington, authorizing the city manager to approve contract amendment number 1 to the professional services agreement with Gray & Osborne Incorporated for the design of the satellite wastewater treatment plant reclaimed tank.
Okay, do we have a motion?
I move to adopt resolution number 1164-0620, a resolution authorizing the city manager to sign amendment number 1 to the sewer comprehensive plan update contract with Gray & Osborne.
Excuse me.
I'm sorry, I got one ahead. Pardon me. I'm like 1163.
Yeah.
1163, correct.
So to clarify, back to 1163. It's all ahead here on my screen, pardon.
Okay.
So I move to adopt resolution number 1163-0620, a resolution authorizing the city manager to sign amendment number 1 to the satellite wastewater treatment plant reclaim tank design contract with Gray & Osborne, Inc.
Second.
All right, any questions or comments from the council?
Just a brief comment that I'm pleased to see our continued work with Squaxin tribe to address some of these issues within our greater community, and I'm really pleased to see us moving forward on this in a collaborative way.
I agree. All right, we have a motion and a second to adopt resolution number 1163-0620, a resolution authorizing the city manager to sign amendment number one to the satellite wastewater treatment plant reclaim tank design contract with Gray and Osborne Incorporated. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? Motion carries. All right. Last resolution on the action agenda is for a contract amendment for the sewer pump plan. Ken is going to share the details with us.
Hey, Council, this is the last sewer project I'm going to share with you tonight. This is probably the last time Jeff will ever let me put 3 sewer projects on a council meeting. This is a repeat of kind of the last one. Is that this is a figure that I shared last time, and it's pay attention in red, and it's a potential basin that could go to our satellite treatment plant. But again, this is another 176,000 from the Squaxin tribe to study that area and see if it can go in. So, so that's what I've presented tonight. And again, I'm here to ask any questions that you have. And thank you for putting up with 3 sewer projects tonight.
All right, let's pause for 30 seconds for public comment.
That's 30 seconds, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you, Donna. You want to give us a reading of resolution number 14-0620?
Resolution number 1164-0620, a resolution of the Council of the City of Shelton, Washington, authorizing the city manager to approve contract amendment number 1 to the professional services agreement with Gray and Osborne Incorporated for the completion of the sewer comprehensive plan update.
All right, do we have a motion?
I can read it again. I move to adopt resolution number 1164-0620, a resolution authorizing the city manager to sign amendment number 1 to the sewer comprehensive plan update contract with Gray and Osborne, Inc.
All right, we have a motion and a second.
Who seconded that?
Question, who, did somebody second? Oh, I didn't hear it. Okay,
I'll
sorry.
second it. I'll second.
Oh, Kathy's got it. Okay. Wait, any questions from the council? All right, we have a motion and a second to adopt resolution number 1164-0620, a resolution authorizing the city manager to sign amendment number 1 to the sewer comprehensive plan update contract with Gray and Osborne Incorporated. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed? Motion carries. All right, we're going to move on to administration reports. Mr. Jeff Knight, will you give us your city manager report?
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, Deputy Mayor, and members of council. One thing that Deputy Mayor Peterson had asked at our last meeting on July 7th is that I provide the community a rundown of how the city intends to spend our CARES Act funding. I've shared that with council during our briefings, but I agree with the Deputy Mayor that it's a good idea to share it with the wider community. So our city was granted $306,600 through the CARES Act funding mechanism through the state. That is a contract with the Department of Commerce that the council approved at our last meeting. So with that, with those dollars, Commerce came out with additional guidance in the middle of June that allows the city to use some of that money on payroll expenses for people that were at home, city employees who were at home but were unable to work. And for the vast majority of the people in the Civic Center, we were all able to work from home through VPN connections and other things. So CARES Act money would not be eligible to be used for that. But we did have several employees that could not do their duties from home. So we'll be using a portion of that CARES Act money for their payroll expenses. In addition to our personal protective equipment purchases that the city made in order to protect our employees while they're doing work here in the city, and the tempered glass that we installed at the front counter to make sure that our employees are as safe as they possibly could be while still serving the citizens that come in to interact with us. In addition, we are making a concerted effort to modernize our systems here at the city. Particularly in the areas of software and hardware infrastructure, online permitting opportunities. We are working with several vendors at the moment to do demonstrations and selecting the vendor that best fits our needs now and well into the future, along with digitizing some of our records, trying to get that project complete so that there is more transparency and the database is easily searchable by individuals in the community who have interest in a particular topic. The online permitting portal, I think, is going to be extremely valuable to our future economic development, and it will speed up permitting processes throughout the city for people that want to invest here, and goes along with one of the core elements of the culture that we're trying to build here is that we want to make it easy and we want to make it enjoyable for people to invest in Shelton, because it's a great place to be and it's a great place to do business. So those are just the broad strokes of what we're trying to do. I certainly have all the details. Mark and Jay and I and several others participated in putting together an RFP, is basically what it is, that outlines all of the requirements that we're looking for, and that includes converting some of our systems from legacy server systems that we've had for years to the cloud, which allows easy access anywhere in the world that you have an internet connection. I could be on the beach on my laptop doing work. Not that I would ever do that, but I could. So those are the types of things, and that saves money in the long run for all of us, for the citizens of the community, and makes us more efficient. And just as an example, the way it saves money is we no longer have to maintain servers on the property. We no longer have to maintain HVAC systems to keep those servers cool. It's a trickle-down effect of savings that will help the community in the long run, and I believe make us more efficient. So if you have any questions about anything that I've offered here tonight, then I'd be happy to answer those, but that's the direction that we are planning to move.
All right. Anyone have a question for Jeff on that?
Just for the record, when do the funds expire?
So they need to be spent by Halloween, October 31st, and we need to have the invoices into the Department of Commerce by November 15th.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. If there's nothing else, then our next meeting will be Tuesday, August 4th, 2020 at 6 o'clock. This meeting is adjourned at 6:51.